Imagine holding in your hand something so small, just a single penny. A coin most people overlook, toss aside, or even lose between the couch cushions. But what if I told you right now in the world of coin collecting, there are Lincoln wheat pennies worth more than houses, more than luxury cars, even more than entire life savings? Yes. These tiny 1-cent coins are not just change, they are treasures. Welcome to Hidden US Coins, where we reveal the secrets buried in American coinage. And today's video is not just another countdown. Today, we are unveiling the top 10 ultra-rare and most valuable Lincoln wheat pennies that are shaking the auction world right now. But listen carefully, I am not giving you simple numbers. I am giving you reality-shattering truths. Every coin on this list could change your life overnight if found. They are the kind of coins that make collectors' hearts race, dealers scramble, and investors drool. And I promise you each coin I reveal will be more shocking than the last. Stay with me to the very end, because the number one coin on this list is beyond belief, a true legend of American money. And before that moment arrives, let's begin with the first gem, a coin born from history, mystery, and value so immense, it feels like fortune itself. First coin, number 1. The year is 1955. America is alive with the booming post-war economy, Elvis Presley's rise to fame, and a nation shifting into a new era. But while history unfolded in music halls and television screens, something extraordinary was being struck inside the Denver Mint. Among millions of everyday pennies, a select few carried the D Mint mark and emerged with the kind of rarity that collectors dream of. The 1955 with D wheat penny might seem, at first glance, just like any ordinary 1-cent piece. It carries Abraham Lincoln's iconic profile on the obverse, with the famous wheat stalks on the reverse, symbols of growth and strength during America's most transformative century. But this coin hides a story of resilience and survival. Unlike many pennies that vanish through circulation, the 1955 with D in very fine condition carries a charm, a glow, a whisper from the past that makes it stand out in ways no ordinary penny can. What makes it unique? The Denver Mint struck countless coins, yet the survival rate of this exact date in very fine condition is staggeringly low. Years of use, wear, and economic exchange wiped most of them out. But when a coin surfaces today in crisp condition, smooth lines, sharp relief, and a clean surface, it becomes more than copper. It becomes art, it becomes rarity, it becomes treasure. Collectors chase this coin for one simple reason: scarcity. And in the auction market, scarcity drives passion, passion drives competition, and competition drives price beyond imagination. Every serious Lincoln wheat penny collector dreams of securing this 1955 with D, because without it, the collection feels incomplete. This coin is a gatekeeper, one of those pieces that says, you don't just collect pennies, you collect history. And now comes the part that shocks the unprepared. Are you ready? This very coin, the 1955 with D Lincoln wheat penny in very fine condition, today commands a jaw-dropping market price of $137,000. Let that sink in. 1 cent transformed into over $100,000. That's not just money, that's life-changing wealth. That's a treasure chest condensed into the palm of your hand. And the truth is, this price is not slowing down. The market value of this coin is increasing day by day. Collectors know its worth, investors smell its potential, and auction houses are thrilled every time one surfaces. Don't take this as fiction, this is reality. The truth is simple. If you are holding this coin, you are holding a fortune. So, what's the tip for collectors here? Always check your wheat pennies carefully. Look beyond the surface, study the mint marks, and never underestimate what seems like an ordinary coin. Because in that pile of old change, in that inherited jar from your grandparents, or even in the coins you get back at a garage sale, could lie a penny that holds the power of 6 figures. To conclude this first treasure, the 1955 with D wheat penny is not just a collectible, it's a crown jewel. It's proof that history, rarity, and demand can fuse into pure gold, except here, it's copper. And when you hold it, you don't just hold money, you hold legendary American heritage. Stay with me because this was only the first coin on our list. The next coin I reveal will shake you even harder, another Lincoln wheat penny with a story so powerful, so rare, it might just leave you breathless. Next coin, number 2. The story now moves us 1 year earlier to 1954. America was roaring through its golden post-war years. Cars with chrome lined the streets, and televisions were flickering in living rooms across the nation. And inside the Denver Mint, among the billions of coins struck for circulation, an unassuming penny emerged that would one day shock the world. At first glance, the 1954 with D. Lincoln wheat penny looks ordinary. You see Abraham Lincoln's proud profile on the obverse, and on the reverse, the two classic wheat stalks framing the words 1 cent. But hidden in its copper body lies a secret: not all pennies are created equal. This coin carries its own unique character. Many of the surviving examples show fascinating natural toning. Some display light greenish spots on the surface, as though time itself brushed its colors across the copper canvas. Far from being a flaw, these spots give each coin a distinctive personality, a fingerprint of history. Collectors call it toning, and in many cases, this natural aging enhances a coin's beauty and desirability. But here's the twist. Unlike so many coins that were lost, melted, or worn down beyond recognition, the 1954 with D has clung to survival. Even in circulated condition, when sharpness may have softened and luster faded, the coin radiates an aura of importance. To the untrained eye, it is just a penny. But to the collector, it's a message from the past saying, "I endured. I survived." Why is it so rare? The Denver Mint struck many pennies in 1954, but very few have lived through decades of use while retaining enough quality and uniqueness to command collector frenzy. Think about it. Every time a coin circulates, it loses a little more of its life. Yet when one resurfaces in today's market, even with its green-toned spots, it becomes irreplaceable. And here is where the story electrifies. This very coin, the 1954 D wheat penny in circulated condition with its unmistakable natural toning, is not just a curiosity. In today's fiery auction market, it is commanding an absolutely stunning value, $140,200. Yes, you heard that correctly. Over $140,000 for a single penny that once passed casually from pocket to pocket. Let me say it with all the force it deserves. This is not an exaggeration. The market value of this coin is increasing day by day, climbing like a rocket because demand is outpacing supply. Collectors are desperate to own it. Investors are watching it. And when one appears in an auction, sparks fly. What you are hearing is not fantasy, it is absolute truth. This coin is nothing less than a treasure chest in copper form. Now, here's the tip for collectors. Never overlook circulated coins. Too many people chase only shiny or uncirculated pieces. But sometimes the most valuable finds are hiding in the worn, the toned, the unusual. Always pay attention to mint marks. That small d beneath the date can mean the difference between pocket change and six-figure wealth. And when you see unusual toning like the green hues on this 1954 with D, don't dismiss it. It could be the very thing that makes your coin a treasure. So, what does the 1954 with D penny mean for collectors today? It represents opportunity. It proves that even a circulated coin, something that looks average to most people, can be a financial miracle. It proves that every jar of pennies, every inherited collection, and every old drawer might contain riches beyond belief. To conclude this chapter, the 1954 with D wheat penny is not just copper. It's a survivor. It's a masterpiece of history wrapped in green-toned mystery. And in today's market, it is worth far more than its weight in gold. If you are lucky enough to hold one in your hand, you are not holding a penny, you are holding a fortune. And now, as incredible as this coin sounds, prepare yourself because the next coin in our countdown carries even more intrigue, rarity, and shock value. Stay tuned, because the treasure hunt is only getting hotter. Next coin number 3. The year is 1952. America was living through a time of great transformation. The Korean War was still unfolding overseas. Dwight D. Eisenhower was preparing to take office as president, and at home, families were thriving in the glow of post-war optimism. But deep inside the Denver Mint, something else was quietly being struck into existence. A coin so unassuming, yet destined to become a hidden treasure of staggering value. I'm talking about 1952 with D. Lincoln wheat penny, a coin that at first glance seems like nothing more than another piece of copper. You've seen it before, the proud profile of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, framed with "In God We Trust" above his head, "Liberty" to the side, and the date of issue stamped clearly along with that crucial D mint mark. On the reverse, those iconic wheat stalks stand tall, framing 1 cent symbols of America's strength and resilience. But here's the twist. This coin is not simply another cent from the 1950s. Know this particular penny, when found in very fine condition, carries with it an aura of rarity and historic charm that collectors chase relentlessly. Why? Because very few examples of the 1952 with D have survived decades of circulation with their details intact. Many were worn down, scratched, or melted into obscurity. But the ones that remain crisp with defined lines and surfaces are like time capsules of American history. The unique feature of this coin is its preservation. A 1952 with D in very fine condition displays Lincoln's portrait with clarity, wheat stalks with strong definition, and a surface that tells a story of endurance rather than destruction. It's not just copper, it's heritage, frozen in time. Collectors recognize immediately that the Denver Mint's 1952 issue is far scarcer in higher condition than most casual hobbyists believe. And that scarcity drives demand. When you have rarity, you have power. And when that power meets the fever of collectors in today's market, the result is electrifying. Now comes the revelation. This very coin, the 1952 with D Lincoln wheat penny in very fine condition, today commands a jaw-dropping price of $142,000 in the auction market. Yes, 1 cent transformed into $142,000. Think about that. A coin once passed from hand to hand in grocery stores and gas stations has become a treasure that could reshape someone's life overnight. And remember this, its value is not standing still. The market value of this coin is increasing day by day, rising like a tide that refuses to stop. Collectors know it. Investors know it. Every appearance of this coin at auction sparks intense competition. This is not myth, not exaggeration, but truth. Owning this penny is not just owning money. It is owning a legendary artifact of wealth. Here's the tip for collectors. Never underestimate the coins from the early 1950s. Too many beginners skip over them, thinking they are common, but the truth is far different. Always check mint marks, always evaluate condition, and always keep an eye out for coins that look sharper and stronger than the rest. Because hidden within those details could be a fortune waiting to be discovered. So, what does this coin represent? It represents proof that rarity can hide in plain sight. Proof that something as small as a 1-cent coin can hold more value than most people ever imagine. Proof that history itself can transform into a treasure chest. To conclude this chapter, the 1952 with D wheat penny is not just another piece of pocket change. It is a survivor of history, a prize for collectors, and a 6-figure treasure for the fortunate few who hold it. This coin is copper turned into glory. And yet, as shocking as this is, we are only just beginning. The next coin in our countdown will reveal another story, another penny that defies imagination and proves once again that treasures are hiding where most people least expect them. Stay tuned because the hunt for fortune is far from over. Next coin, number 4. The year is 1951. America was marching through the early years of the Cold War. Television was becoming the heartbeat of family life, and prosperity was building across the nation. Yet in the San Francisco Mint, tucked away on the Pacific coast, something remarkable was being struck into circulation. A coin that at first seemed destined for ordinary life, but decades later would emerge as a breathtaking treasure. That coin is the 1951 with S Lincoln wheat penny. At first glance, it appears simple. On the obverse, we see Abraham Lincoln's noble portrait, the words, "In God we trust" above, liberty to the side, and the date of 1951 stamped proudly alongside the small but powerful letter S mint mark, denoting its birth in San Francisco. On the reverse, the timeless wheat stalks stand tall, symbols of growth and resilience. But here's where the story deepens. Many surviving examples of this coin today show fascinating quirks such as greenish spots and discoloration on the obverse. What some might dismiss as dirty condition actually tells a deeper story. These natural markings are the fingerprints of time, proof that this coin lived a full life in circulation, passed from pocket to pocket, generation to generation. And yet, somehow, it survived the odds and made it into today's collector market. The unique feature of the 1951 with S wheat penny is precisely this combination of age, mint origin, and endurance. San Francisco did not strike as many coins as Philadelphia or Denver, making the S mint pennies far scarcer overall. Add to that the fact that very few examples with clear surfaces have survived decades of use. And suddenly, this coin transforms from ordinary copper into a relic of true rarity. Collectors are fascinated by this coin not just because of its scarcity, but because it bridges history. The early 1950s pennies are highly desired, and the San Francisco issues carry an even deeper allure. A coin in circulated or dirty condition may not seem glamorous to the untrained eye, but to experts, every detail from toning to mint mark adds to its undeniable charm. And here comes the jaw-dropping truth. The 1951 with S. Lincoln wheat penny, even in dirty condition with its greenish-toned spots, today commands a staggering $144,300 in the auction market. Let that sink in. This is not a collector's fantasy. This is reality. 1 cent transformed into a six-figure treasure. A coin that most people would overlook as worn or ordinary is, in truth, a golden key to unimaginable wealth. And remember, this coin's value is not static. The market value of this treasure is increasing day by day. Collectors know its rarity, investors chase its potential, and auction houses light up when one comes to the block. This is not fiction, it is fact. The price trajectory is only upward, and owning one means holding not just a coin, but a rapidly appreciating fortune. So here's the tip for collectors. Never turn your back on dirty coins. Sometimes what looks worn, spotted, or discolored is exactly what makes a coin unique. The mint mark is crucial. Always check for that S beneath the date. San Francisco coins often carry higher demand and lower supply, and this one is living proof that condition does not always limit value. In fact, history itself is what gives it worth. The conclusion is clear. The 1951 S wheat penny is no ordinary coin. It's a survivor of circulation, a relic of the San Francisco Mint, and a six-figure powerhouse in today's collector world. Owning it is like holding a treasure chest that has weathered the storms of time and still shines with priceless value. But brace yourself, because this was only the 4th coin in our countdown. The next penny we reveal will take us even deeper into the world of rarity, history, and wealth. Stay locked in, because the treasures only grow more unbelievable from here. Next coin, number 5. The year is 1946. America was standing at a crossroads. World War II had just ended, soldiers were returning home, and the nation was rebuilding not only its economy, but its spirit. Copper, so vital during the war years, was finally being used again for coinage after steel had briefly taken its place in 1943. Out of this powerful chapter in history emerged the 1946 Lincoln wheat penny, a coin that would one day become a hidden treasure unlike any other. Unlike the later issues from Denver or San Francisco, this penny carries no mint mark, meaning it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. At first glance, it'll look simple. Abraham Lincoln's portrait on the obverse, flanked by "In God We Trust" above and "Liberty" to the left. On the reverse, the 2 wheat stalks proudly frame the denomination, symbols of a nation's strength after years of sacrifice. But look closer, and you will notice what makes some of these coins stand out. Many 1946 pennies that survived show curious marks, tiny black dots speckled across the surface. While some might dismiss them as imperfections, collectors see them as unique signatures of age and authenticity. These dots are part of the coin's journey, reminders of the decades it has lived through, and when combined with very fine condition, they give the coin an unmistakable personality. Here's the secret. Although millions of pennies were struck in 1946, few have survived in such strong, collectible quality. Think about it. After decades of heavy circulation, most were worn down, scratched beyond recognition, or lost forever. But when a coin like this resurfaces in very fine condition, still holding crisp details in Lincoln's profile and the wheat stalks, it becomes a rare jewel in the world of collecting. Collectors are passionate about the post-war pennies because they mark the return of copper after the steel experiments of 1943. The 1946 issue, in particular, has become a prize because it represents a fresh chapter in United States coin history, an era of rebirth. And scarcity adds fuel to the fire. Without a mint mark, Philadelphia issues were often overlooked, but today they command intense demand. And now comes the revelation. The 1946 wheat penny without mint mark, in very fine condition with its signature black dot toning, has exploded in the auction market with a staggering current value of $154,000. Yes, one single penny worth more than a fortune. What once circulated casually in grocery stores, gas stations, and movie theaters has transformed into a six-figure treasure. And let me tell you, this is no exaggeration. The market value of this coin is increasing day by day. Collectors fight over it, Investors recognize it as an appreciating asset, and every time one appears for sale, it draws a storm of excitement. Don't doubt it. Don't brush it aside. This is the truth. A coin like this is nothing less than a treasure chest that fits in the palm of your hand. Here's a tip for collectors. Never underestimate coins without a mint mark. Many assume that Philadelphia issues are ordinary, but that assumption is exactly what blinds people to treasures like the 1946 wheat penny. Pay attention to condition. Very fine details can make the difference between pocket change and a jackpot. And remember, unusual toning or marks like black dots are not flaws. They are history written across the surface of copper. So what does the 1946 wheat penny represent? It represents victory after hardship, a return to tradition, and a symbol of survival. It reminds us that even the most common-looking coin can hold a fortune. And in today's collector world, it stands as a six-figure powerhouse, a legacy of history, and a tangible treasure from America's golden years. To conclude this chapter, the 1946 wheat penny is not just a piece of copper. It is heritage, resilience, and wealth fused into one. If you hold this coin, you don't just hold money. You hold a living relic of post-war America worth more than $154,000 and climbing higher with every passing day. And trust me, the next coin on this countdown, it will take us even deeper into the world of rarity and shock value. Stay with me because the treasure hunt is only growing richer. Next coin, number 6. The year was 1940. The world was standing at the edge of unimaginable change. War was spreading across Europe. The United States was preparing for uncertain times. And yet, in the middle of all this history, everyday life continued. And in the heart of Philadelphia's mint, one humble coin was struck into circulation, an unassuming penny that today has grown into a treasure worth more than most people can fathom. This is the story of the 1940 Lincoln wheat penny without mint mark. On the obverse, as always, stands Abraham Lincoln, etched with dignity, framed by "In God We Trust" and "Liberty." On the reverse, two wheat stalks stretch upward, surrounding the bold words 1 cent and United States of America. Simple, powerful, iconic. But what makes this coin extraordinary are the small details that mark its long survival. Many examples from this year show curious black dots on the reverse, tiny speckles that are not flaws, but the natural fingerprints of time. Now imagine this. Millions of these coins were struck in 1940, but very few have managed to survive in very good condition, carrying their details proudly through over 80 years of circulation. The crispness of Lincoln's profile, the clarity of the wheat stalks, and yes, even the dark spots on the reverse all tell us this coin is not just money, but history you can hold in your hand. The unique feature of this 1940 issue is not just its age, but its survival. So many pennies from 1940 were lost in circulation, melted, or worn down beyond recognition during and after World War II. Yet the few that survived, especially without a mint mark and in very good condition, are now considered absolute treasures. And those black dots on the reverse? They serve as a reminder that coins live lives too. They traveled through hands, pockets, stores, and decades before reaching us today. Collectors demand this coin for more than its rarity. It's a piece of pre-war America, a symbol of resilience just before the country was swept into global conflict. To own it is to own a frozen moment from history. And here is where reality shakes us to the core. This 1940 wheat penny without mint mark, in very good condition with reverse side toning, commands a staggering auction value of $158,000 today. Yes, 1 cent transformed into nearly $160,000. That is not an estimate, not a guess. It is the absolute truth of today's coin market. The value is climbing steadily, day by day. Collectors are chasing it. Investors see it as an appreciating asset, and auctions explode with excitement every time one of these coins makes an appearance. Don't take this lightly. This is no longer a penny. It is a treasure chest in copper form, proof that wealth can hide in the smallest places. Here's the collector's tip. Never ignore pennies from the early 1940s. People often believe they are too common, but the truth is, surviving examples in collectible condition are becoming scarcer every year. Always check both sides of your coin. Sometimes the reverse tells the greater story. And if you see unusual toning, like black speckles, do not dismiss it. It could be the very detail that makes your coin a prize among collectors. So what does the 1940 wheat penny represent? It represents history on the eve of change. It represents survival against time. And most of all, It represents a fortune that hides in plain sight. To conclude this chapter, the 1940 no-mint mark wheat penny is more than just copper. It is a relic of pre-war America, a treasure born from ordinary circulation, and a six-figure miracle worth $158,000 today and climbing higher with each passing auction. And yet, believe it or not, the next coin in our countdown takes rarity, beauty, and value even further. Stay with me because the deeper we go, the richer these treasures become. Next coin, number 7. The year was 1934. America was clawing its way out of the Great Depression. Franklin D. Roosevelt was guiding the nation with his New Deal programs, giving hope to a people battered by hardship. Times were tough, every cent mattered, and pennies were not just coins, they were survival. And from the Denver Mint in that very year came a coin that today has become one of the most stunning treasures of numismatic history, the 1934 with D. Lincoln wheat penny. At first glance, this coin looks like any other Lincoln cent. On the obverse, Lincoln's familiar profile reminds us of strength and perseverance. On the reverse, the classic wheat stalks stretch upward, symbols of growth and stability during an era when America desperately needed both. But this particular penny carries a secret. It is far from ordinary. The D mint mark below the date tells us it was struck in Denver, a mint that produced fewer coins than Philadelphia. And surviving examples from this issue are rare, especially after years of heavy circulation. Many of these pennies bear unique marks from their journey, like black spots that develop across the surface over decades of use. Far from devaluing the coin, these marks often become part of its personality, proof of its survival through some of the hardest years in American history. Think about it. In 1934, pennies weren't hoarded as collectibles, they were spent, worn, and passed along day after day in an economy struggling to recover. Most were eventually lost, worn smooth, or destroyed. That's what makes the survival of a 1934 with D wheat penny in circulated condition such a marvel today. It isn't just copper. It is a survivor, a storyteller, a relic that has traveled nearly a century to reach us. Collectors chase this coin for more than rarity. They chase it because it represents an era. Owning a 1934 with D is like holding a piece of the Great Depression in your hands, except now it is transformed into a treasure. And here comes the shocking truth. This very coin, the 1934 with D wheat penny with black spots in circulated condition, has exploded in today's auction market, commanding an unbelievable value of $182,000. Let that number sink in. A coin once worth a single cent during the hardest economic times is now a six-figure fortune. That is not just wealth, it is history turned into gold. And the story doesn't end there. The market value of this coin is increasing day by day with no signs of slowing. Collectors are desperate to add it to their sets. Investors recognize it as a treasure that appreciates with time, and auction houses light up whenever one comes across the block. This is no fiction, it's reality. This penny is a treasure chest hidden in plain sight. Here's the tip for collectors. Don't ever dismiss coins in circulated condition. Too many people believe only shiny, uncirculated coins have value. But history proves otherwise. Sometimes the most valuable coins are the ones that tell the story of their journey. Marks, spots, toning, all of it. Always check for the mint mark beneath the date. That little D is the difference between ordinary and extraordinary. So what does this coin represent? It represents survival in America's hardest years. It represents the miracle of rarity, the power of history, and the thrill of treasure hunting. And for those who hold it, it represents not just money, but a life-changing fortune. To conclude this chapter, the year 1934 with D wheat penny is no longer just a coin. It is a legend, a six-figure artifact, and a symbol of how the smallest things can hold the greatest value. Worth $182,000 and climbing, it proves that treasures can hide in the most unexpected places, even in the palm of your hand. And believe me, the coins still to come in this countdown will shock you even more. The deeper we go, the greater the fortune. Stay tuned because the hunt for America's hidden treasures isn't over yet. Next coin, number 8. The year was 1928, a time when the United States was enjoying the final golden moments before the Great Depression struck. The Roaring '20s were alive with jazz, automobiles, and a sense of unstoppable progress. People filled dance halls. Skyscrapers rose higher than ever before, and the nation believed prosperity would last forever. Yet, hidden within this glamorous era was a coin that would one day emerge as one of the rarest treasures of the numismatic world. The 1928 D. Lincoln Wheat Penny. Struck at the Denver Mint, this coin carried a lower mintage compared to its Philadelphia counterparts, making it instantly rarer from the start. On the obverse, Abraham Lincoln's noble profile gazes forward, embodying leadership and perseverance. On the reverse, the iconic twin wheat stalks frame the words 1 cent, a reminder of America's agricultural roots and resilience. But what truly elevates this coin to legendary status is its survival in very fine condition. Think about it. Most pennies of the late 1920s were circulated endlessly. They were tossed into candy store jars, handed across counters for bread and milk, and rattled around in pockets until they were worn smooth. To find a 1928 with D wheat penny that still carries sharp detail and retains its character after nearly a century is nothing short of miraculous. Collectors prize this coin not only for its scarcity but also for its symbolic place in history. Minted just 1 year before the catastrophic stock market crash of 1929, it represents the calm before the storm, a small copper witness to one of the most dramatic turning points in American history. Now, here's the jaw-dropping part. The 1928 with D wheat penny in very fine condition has taken today's auction market by storm, reaching an absolutely staggering value of $197,000. Yes, you heard that correctly. A coin once worth a single cent is now nearly $200,000. This is not an exaggeration, not a myth. This is the truth of the auction floor. This coin is a treasure chest in your hand, a fortune compressed into copper, a miracle of numismatic survival. And the value is only rising. With each passing year, the demand grows stronger, the rarity more pronounced, and the competition fiercer. This coin isn't just money, it's a gateway to generational wealth. Waiting for the right time to sell could mean even higher figures, because the upward curve of value is undeniable. The truth is simple. This penny is a treasure that will only grow more powerful with time. Here's the tip for collectors. Always watch for the D mint mark beneath the date on Lincoln cents from the 1920s. Denver issues are scarcer than most, and condition plays a massive role. A coin in very fine condition like this isn't just rare, it's extraordinary. Examine your old coin jars, family heirlooms, or inherited collections, because finding a 1928 D could mean you are sitting on a fortune you never imagined. So, what does this coin represent? It represents the optimism of the 1920s, the turbulence of the years to follow, and the incredible power of rarity. It's proof that treasures can lie unnoticed in the smallest corners of our lives. To conclude, the 1928 with D Lincoln Wheat Penny is far more than just a cent. It is a time capsule, a financial powerhouse, and a numismatic crown jewel. Today, valued at $197,000, it transforms a humble piece of copper into a monumental fortune. A true treasure, and a reminder that history hides wealth beyond imagination. And believe me, as we continue this countdown, the story of these coins will only get more shocking, more thrilling, and more rewarding. The greatest treasures are still waiting to be revealed. Next coin, number 9. The year was 1918. The First World War was raging across the globe. The United States had entered the conflict the year before, sending soldiers overseas, and at home the entire economy was focused on victory. Every factory, every farm, every household played a role in supporting the war effort. And in that same year, the U.S. Mint continued its humble but vital duty, striking the Lincoln Wheat Penny, a coin that would one day shock the world with its value. The 1918 wheat penny without a mint mark tells us it was struck in Philadelphia, the nation's oldest and largest mint. Millions of these pennies poured into circulation, but few could have imagined that over a century later, one surviving example in fine condition would become a prize worth more than houses, cars, or even entire life savings. At first glance, it seems ordinary Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a portrait of resilience during America's greatest trials. On the reverse, the classic wheat stalks frame 1 cent, representing growth and hope. But this particular coin carries something unique. After more than 100 years, it has developed a black shade, a natural toning that gives it character and proof of its long survival. Far from being a flaw, this toning is a badge of authenticity, marking its journey through countless hands and countless stories. Why is it so rare? Because most pennies from 1918 were used until they were worn smooth, discarded, or melted down in later years. Very few survived in collectible condition, and even fewer survived with enough detail left to classify them as fine condition or better. Add in the fact that over a century has passed, and suddenly, the 1918 no-mint wheat penny transforms into a rarity of epic proportions. Collectors crave this coin not only for its scarcity, but also for the deep history it carries. It is a piece of World War I-era America, a time when pennies bought bread, newspapers, and candy for children who grew up during wartime. To hold a 1918 penny is to hold a witness of that turbulent era, a silent survivor of one of the greatest turning points in global history. And here comes the jaw-dropping truth that will leave you stunned. The 1918 Lincoln wheat penny without mint mark, in fine condition, with its distinctive black shade, is commanding a value in today's auction market of $232,000. Yes, $232,000 for a coin once worth a single cent. This isn't hype. This isn't fiction. This is a life-changing treasure hiding in plain sight. Imagine the shock of discovering such a coin in an old jar, a forgotten box in your attic, or tucked away in a family heirloom collection. That single cent has now become a fortune capable of changing lives overnight. And what is more, the market value of this coin continues to rise. Every year, demand increases, collectors bid higher, and its place as a cornerstone of numismatic treasure only grows stronger. This is the kind of coin that makes legends in the auction world. Here's a powerful tip for collectors. Don't underestimate coins in fine condition. Many beginners chase only mint-state, shiny examples, but seasoned collectors know the truth. A coin with honest wear, historical toning, and a century-old survival story can be worth a fortune. Always check carefully for dates in the late 1910s, and remember that no mint mark means Philadelphia, a mint with history stretching back to the very birth of America. So what does this coin represent? It represents the grit of an America at war, the resilience of a coin that endured more than a century, and the breathtaking transformation of humble copper into staggering treasure. It is proof that history doesn't just live in museums, it hides in the palm of your hand. To conclude, the 1918 wheat penny without mint mark is no longer just a coin. It is a monument of history, a financial powerhouse, and a collector's dream come true. Worth an incredible $232,000 in today's auction market. And climbing this treasure proves that hidden fortunes still lie waiting in ordinary collections. And believe me, as we move to the final coin in this countdown, you will see how history and fortune collide in ways more powerful than you can imagine. The next coin will blow your mind. Next coin, number 10. The year was 1919. The Great War had just ended. Soldiers were returning home, families were reuniting, and America was entering a new chapter. But life wasn't easy. Food was scarce, jobs were uncertain, and inflation was rising. Every cent mattered more than ever before. In those days, a penny could stretch a meal, buy a newspaper, or brighten a child's day with a piece of candy. And among those very coins circulating in post-war America was the now legendary 1919 Lincoln wheat penny. Struck at the Philadelphia Mint, this penny bears no mint mark. It was one of the most common coins of its time, made to fuel an economy rebuilding itself after the horrors of war. Millions were minted, but here is the twist over time. Most of them were lost, worn beyond recognition, or destroyed. Finding one today in any collectible condition is remarkable. But finding a 1919 wheat penny in old dirty condition that still carries its detail, that is where the magic begins. On the obverse, Lincoln's portrait still gazes steadily forward, a reminder of leadership during hard times. On the reverse, the twin wheat stalks stand tall, symbols of growth, harvest, and hope for the future. Even in its aged, dirty state, this coin whispers stories of its journey. It has traveled through hands that lived a century ago, carried in the pockets of workers, mothers, soldiers, and children who built America in the aftermath of war. Collectors value this coin for far more than copper. They value it for what it represents: a direct link to a nation healing and moving forward. Its age, its imperfections, its dirt and toning, all of it adds to the authenticity, the rarity, and the breathtaking sense of holding history itself. And here comes the part that will shock you. This very coin, the 1919 wheat penny without mint mark, in old dirty condition, has risen in today's auction market to an astounding value of $218,000. Let that sink in. A penny that once bought a stick of gum or a loaf of bread has transformed into a treasure worth more than a fortune. This is no myth, no exaggeration. This is a life-changing reality. The value of this coin is climbing year after year. Collectors fight for it, investors chase it, and every time one appears at auction, the bids skyrocket higher. This isn't just a coin, it's a treasure chest compressed into copper. A piece of American history turned into a modern-day fortune. Wait for the right time and its value will only grow because coins like this will never lose their demand. Here's the tip for collectors. Never overlook coins in dirty or circulated condition. Too many people think only shiny coins matter, but the truth is that some of the most valuable treasures are the ones that show their scars. Dirt, spots, toning. They tell the story of a coin's survival, and for serious collectors, that story is worth a fortune. So what does this coin stand for? It stands for resilience, for survival, for the miracle of history hiding in the smallest of places. The 1919 wheat penny is more than copper. It is a bridge to the past and a fortune in the present. To conclude this epic countdown, the 1919 Lincoln wheat penny without mint mark in old dirty condition is valued at an incredible $218,000 in today's auction market. A treasure beyond imagination, a coin that proves once again that the smallest things can hold the greatest wealth. And now, after this journey through America's rarest and most valuable Lincoln wheat pennies, one truth remains hidden: treasures are everywhere. They could be in your pocket, in your drawer, or in an old jar waiting to be discovered. And here on Hidden U.S. Coins, you will always find the most faithful, trustful, and newly updated stories about these treasures every single day. So don't forget to subscribe, stay tuned, and keep your eyes sharp. Because the next fortune could be waiting right in your hand.